Hi, so today I'm going to be talking about the Nikon F5, which was Nikon's top of the line camera. I actually upgraded from the F4 to this. I got this from work. I believe I paid about £150 for the body only, which is a good price. I mean, the price of them has been coming down recently. Electronic cameras, just generally, film cameras especially, the price is falling, and this is no exception. I mean, an F4 you can buy for about £100 now. That's a solid camera in itself. But with this, it was kind of just for the speed, accuracy in the autofocus, and sort of how well pretty much every single Nikon lens works on it. It is a very big camera. Not sure on the exact weight. As you'd expect with sort of most Nikon cameras, very well built. It is very heavy, but you kind of get used to it over time. If you shot with any of the Nikon cameras all the way from the F up to the F6, you know they're quite heavy. They're solid cameras. They're built to last, and that's good to know. I mean, if you buy a professional body camera, you know you want it to actually do the job. But it's full aluminium alloy body, and it's got a titanium viewfinder, which is nice because you know that it's pretty tough. It will take all of Nikon fit lenses. Pre-AI lenses will need stop-down metering, but you've got depth of field preview here. At the moment, I'm mostly using D lenses, so autofocus, but with the aperturing. This is pretty much just because I can use them on manual bodies if I wanted, because they've got the AI tab. General overview of the camera. It's 8 frames a second. That's a sort of continuous high. So at high speed, that's about this. And you can go through a whole roll of film, 36 exposures, very quickly, sort of dangerously quickly. You just start clicking away and you don't really realise how quickly you're getting through them. You do have a full sort of LCD display, which is nice. It's more like the modern digital cameras that you get now. It feels like one of the more modern digital cameras. Small things about it: you've got 5 AF points, so one in the middle, one at the top, one at the bottom, left and right. You can change those. They are very good. Autofocus is very fast. I think it's faster than my D750 that I'm filming this on. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's something to do with being made to work with D lenses. This camera was actually manufactured from 1996 until 2004, which isn't that long ago actually. It was then replaced by the F6, which is a camera that it's a very good camera, but I always found that it felt a bit like a cop-out on Nikon's part. They make it just to say, look, we still make film cameras. So I've never been a fan of the F6, and kind of felt that the F5 was the last sort of great film camera that they made. And you've got 3D, well, RGB metering, which seems to be very accurate. Most of the time I'm shooting colour negative film in this. Haven't tried any slide yet, so maybe I'll try that, see what I get from it. As with most Nikon sort of pro film bodies, pretty sort of modular. Viewfinder will remove. There's a button on the back, the viewfinder, this one here. Press that, slides off. Focusing screens you can change. I've just got the standard one with the 5 points in it, but as far as I know you can get ones with grids and things like that. With the other previous F-mount F bodies, they were all just a standard body with, you could get an optional grip for them. That gave you the vertical shutter and also sort of gave you the high continuous frame rate. With the F4 I believe it was 5 frames a second standard, and then it went up to 6 or 7 frames a second with the grip. That also made it the F4S. With the F5, the grip is not removable, it's solid, which some people don't get on with. I don't find it a problem. I'm used to sort of bigger cameras, so in this circumstance I don't find it to be a problem. It does take a lot of batteries, so you've got 8 batteries, 8 AA's, which does make it a very, very heavy camera. All round, it's sort of everything is where you sort of expect it to be. Shutter button, exposure compensation, mode dial, which you can change to obviously aperture, shutter, priority, and then you can have full manual or program mode. You can change your focusing points, you can do double exposures and set sort of how many double exposures you want. Of course, you've got matrix metering, 3D matrix metering, 3D color matrix metering, which is, yeah, as I've said, very, very accurate. You've also got the center weighted and you've got the spot. Generally, I'll just leave it on the matrix unless I know I want something specific to be metered for, so sort of a spot of light or anything like that. Auto exposure lock and autofocus lock, and then you've got a back button focus there. You've got front mode dial here. You've got a back mode dial, which again feels like digital cameras. On the grip, you've got the vertical shutter, which can be locked if you don't want to just sort of accidentally bump into it. And you've got an AF on button, so it will autofocus when you press that down. Same as back button focusing, just on the grip as opposed to at the top. You also got sort of a drop down window here and another LCD screen here. With that you get ISO, so you can manually set your ISO, or you can just have it set to DX, which is normally what I do. Flash options, so it will work with most of the Nikon SB flashes. Haven't tried it with that many. I don't really do much flash stuff, but it's good to know. You can do sort of rear curtain flash or slow sync, things like that, which is a nice option to have considering that that's what all the digital cameras do. So knowing that you can do it with the film if you want to, it's good to know. You've got bracketing options, you've got a lock so you can sort of fix all your settings and fix everything you want, and then you've got some custom options. From memory, I believe you've got 25 custom settings, just sort of tweaking things between how much the center weighted metering measures, 12mm or 15mm, different frame rates, different sort of maximum shutter speeds, just a whole range of things really. Yeah, D lenses are great. Autofocus is fast on most lenses. This one's not ideal, so it's the 60mm macro. So that's the 2.8 60mm macro. Really good lens. It's kind of my standard lens for this camera. I like the slightly longer focal length. I think it's quite good for portraits. It's not a great lens for digital. You do sort of get chromatic aberration and other things like that. Plus autofocus can be very, very slow, especially if it's trying to go all the way through the range. It's just that. So hunting can be a bit of a problem. Generally, I stick it in limit, so it will limit how much it will focus between sort of infinity, and I think it's half a meter or 30 centimeters, something like that. Unless I'm actually doing macro work, which I'm not normally doing. So that's a great lens for this one. I've also got the 80-200 2.8, which is essentially an older version of the 70-200, but also a great lens. On this body, works very, very well, very, very fast, and yeah, very, very pleased with it. It'll also work with all modern G lenses, as long as it's AFS, autofocus metering, everything will be fine. I normally also have a 50mm, just a 1.8G, nothing special, just because it's a little bit smaller. It's quite a nice lens just to throw on there. But yeah, quieter focusing, not necessarily more accurate, but yeah, quieter and sort of more compact, so I go with that. What else is there to say about this camera? Oh, it will also rewind a roll of film in about sort of 10 seconds, maybe less. You can probably find exact times online, but from my experience, if you want to change a roll very, very quickly, this is sort of the perfect camera for it. It will just wind it all back, have no problems with it, and you can just pop it up and change it again very, very quickly. They did make a lot of sort of accessories to this camera. There was a standard data back, and then there was a much more complicated multi-control back, so you could use it as an intervalometer, sort of set up long exposures, do printing of, instead of doing the date printing, it would do sort of the exposure values in between the frames. So if you wanted to have sort of metadata with each of your images, that was a good way to do it. I don't have that. I think it's sort of unnecessary. It makes the camera much more bulky when you don't really want anything to be more bulky than this. But yeah, overall, very, very solid camera. Can't recommend it enough. If you're looking for a lightweight film body, yeah, I wouldn't recommend it. But if you want something that you know will last and is generally sort of a great all-round professional body, you can't really go wrong with it. It's kind of my go-to 35mm camera now. As I said, had the F4 in the past, loved it, loved all the dials, everything like that, but when I got the chance to pick this one up, I kind of jumped at it because I knew that the F5 was sort of that next step up from the F4. So yeah, I had to go with that. So that's where I'm going to leave it. Thank you for watching, listening to my rambling. This is my first YouTube video. I've done small things in the past, but nothing this significant. So yeah, thanks for watching, and see you again soon.